Boy, Drummer Boy, aka D-Boy Fresh, man, and you listening to me right here on the Alternative.
Yo, what up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your man, Melvin Taylor II, right here with the Alternative on WHCR 90.3 FM, New York, the voice of Harlem. Man, how y'all been, bro? It's been a good week. It's good to be back here on the radio with y'all one more time. The weather in New York is finally, nice consistently, so that's kind of good as well, man. And, we just got to have a lot of fun. Also, yesterday was Biggie's birthday, since it's technically Tuesday. At this point in time, yesterday was Biggie's birthday, so of course we had to start off the show. One of my favorite Biggie songs, "Sky's the Limit." That beat is so incredible. Shout out to I'm forgetting the white dude's name, the same Blue Flame, and also sang dun 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 dun. He the one that sample. You got that sample from his record. I'm gonna find Bobby Caldwell. Thank you so much. The same white dude that every year more and more black people get surprised that he's actually white. I don't know how it keeps happening to everybody, but every single year it happens. Nonetheless, man. We back on the radio one more time, and today I got a very special guest, y'all. I got my homie. This man is this guy is just so incredible in everything that he does. One of LinkedIn's top voices. He writes for Forbes. He helped set up Complex Hustle, helped to set up Revolt. He's a teacher, can tell you how to interview correctly and also how to get your writing together, how to get your pen together, just basically how to get paid by being yourself. That's who he is.
Absolutely.
My man, Julian Mitchell.
Yo, what's going on, man?
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. It feels good to be here.
I'm glad to have you
and it's
here,
good to
man.
see you in your element.
Oh, most definitely. I
Absolutely.
appreciate that. Yeah.
I appreciate the intro too. That was a very kind intro.
Oh, no problem. I'm trying to get to Sway's level where he go for 4-5 minutes and then eventually get there. So how's
focus
everything?
makes perfect.
There we go. How's everything been for you, man, lately?
Man, it's been good. I've been very inspired, very focused. I feel like I'm at a different level of focus. I feel like when you get to different spaces, you have new growing pains, new challenges, new things that you face.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, the other side of that, I think you reach a new level of enlightenment, a new level of clarity, a new level of focus. So for me, it's been head down, a lot of work, a lot of grinding, a lot of, a lot of creating, obviously. And then a lot of just mapping out, what the next couple of years looks like what moves I want to make for the next, several years and things like that. So it's been a combination, man, a lot of reflection, a lot of, work, obviously, a lot of planning, a lot of just staying inspired, staying focused, and a lot of alone time. I get in these modes where I really roll solo and spend a lot of time with myself. So I'm in one of those seasons where it's just me, God, and my imagination right now.
Now, do you feel that
space.
moments like those are very important to kind of recenter yourself in a sense? Because it's in New York City or any big city in general, you can kind of get lost in what's going on around you type of thing.
Yeah, I never get lost in a city like New York. I'm not even concerned or affected by the things happening around me or things happening in the city. In fact, I'm a walker. I like to walk a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And a part of that is because I love feeling connected to the city. I love the energy of the city. I like all of the movement. I feel like, it creates a certain energy that when I'm in my mode, it's like a natural boost or just gives that jolt that makes you feel present and connected to everything that's going on when you spend so much time in your head and you spend so much time working and staying down and staying focused.
Right.
But I feel like it's very important. I think it's very important, less about recentering yourself and more about continuing an ongoing relationship with yourself. Because I feel like you have to be your own life coach, be your own friend, your own prayer partner, your own, Phil Jackson, really. So I think in all areas of your life, not just your career. So I think it's very important just to have check-ins with yourself, period, to go through phases where you're really evaluating what you like, what you don't like, how you can grow, how you can evolve, evaluate, your relationships, evaluate what you care about, what you value, what you're working towards. evaluate where your spirit's at, where your health is at, where your family's at. I think those are, where's your prayer life, where's your connection, to God and everything happening around you, where are you with karma, the law of attraction, like all these types of things I feel like should be an ongoing check-in and process that everybody has, So I think it's regardless of what city you're in, regardless of what you do or how you move, I just think that's, paramount for any individual who wants to consistently, get better and evolve and, just really continue to love yourself and trust yourself and go after what you want.
Now, I feel like this type of conversation is privileged in a sense because, and I'm not saying that you're coming from a privileged place. What I'm saying is that you kind of have to mature into having that type of mindset.
Yeah.
Now, when did it kind of first hit you that you were starting to really think on this type of level? Because a lot of people aren't really thinking about, I really need to be in tune with myself and continue to grow rather than the whole recentering type of thing.
Yeah, I think it's been an ongoing process. I feel like what sticks out to me was a moment of, I was probably 20 years old, 21. And I was battling with self-sabotage at the time. And it wasn't due to a lack of confidence or a lack of belief or anything like that. I think it was really more so having an attitude of you're always fighting something, or you're always, competing against something in yourself, or it's you against the world. You got a chip on your shoulder. And I always had that, up until that point, I always had that kind of mentality and spirit about myself, which was a gift and a curse. It was a gift because it gives you a sense of resilience and perseverance and drive and all of that, to be able to literally feel like you can't be defeated. Like in any circumstance, in any situation, you feel like you're always going to come out on top and you're always going to win, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's detrimental because you start to see your relationship to the world as you against the world. So you're defensive, you take things personal, you don't allow yourself to be fluid and really be at peace and really be happy and really accept all the things that you want for yourself and for your life. And so I got to a point where I was sabotaging a lot of things, and I had a really close friend of mine who stopped me one time and said, you are great at making relationships, but it was relationships in context, right? You're great at creating relationships, but you're horrible at keeping them. And she's like, it's your fault, right? Like that's on you. And that was a time where it stopped me in my tracks. I had like a couple of different experiences like that. This is the first one that jumps out.
Yeah.
But that experience was me having to take the most honest, sobering, clear look at exactly where I was at, how I was thinking, what I cared about, why, I was moving the way that I was, why I felt like, I hadn't accepted certain things that I deserve for myself. It's less about feeling like you deserve it. You have to accept that you do. And so I feel like I went back and wrote a list of every single person and every single situation that I felt like I had sabotaged or messed up or didn't understand, and resolved those situations and confronted them and was accountable for them. And then coming out of that was the first time I really felt like I really understood, where I was at and how I was thinking and all of that. And it allowed me to not just be a better person, but have real relationships and really understand like the value of those relationships, to really trust myself, to really believe in myself, to really know that the things that I want and desire and see for myself from every aspect of my life is truly attainable, and I can have it and I deserve it. And, like that sent me down a path. My spiritual life, it was like, okay, you're seeing this for a reason at this time. So be aware of the signs, like pay attention and know how everything is working together for the greater good, not to like come after you, but to make it an ongoing experience of lessons and realizations and evolution and things like that. So I feel like that sent me down a path at that particular time of just being a lot more self-reflective and being a lot more honest and real with the good, bad, and the ugly. You know what I'm saying? And for me, that situation put me in a space where I started saying things to myself like, yo, you know, you should really just spend time by yourself, like really get to know. You think you know yourself until you really spend time with yourself, and you know what I'm saying, and really hold that mirror up, and then you get to see it. Yeah. So usually our relationships are based on how the world reacts to us, and how the world has a relationship to us, and we're more reactionary to the world, as opposed to really knowing ourselves. So I feel like that sent me down a path of doing that. And then when I saw how healthy that was, and how when you get in those spaces, you literally hear, you know, I'll say for myself, I hear God's voice. I hear my own voice. I hear what my spirit is saying and all of that. And so it's very clear and allows me to have a clear like line of communication internally to know what I feel and what moves to make and what I care about. And if I make mistakes, I know where it came from and how to check it and things like that. Yeah.
Man, this some great conversation. Man, we only 20 minutes into this show.
I feel like I'm talking too much.
We already getting it. No, you good, bro. You good. You are.
Does that makes sense though, right?
Yes, it does. Okay, cool. Completely makes sense. Ladies and gentlemen, Julian is not going anywhere. We will get into some more of this talk right after these next few songs. Remember, this is The Alternative with Melvin Taylor. I don't go nowhere. Southside by Lil Baby coming up right now. Right there, Louboutin, This and That by D Brooks exclusive, Valley, Katie Young, Cocky, and King Louis. Now, we get back to the other song that I was just playing. It's called Runway by my man Young Paris. All right, don't go nowhere. It's The Alternative. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we are back one more time with The Alternative. Got my man Julian Mitchell here in studio, and we just having a grand old time talking about everything. Grand old time. I sound like an old dude. Let me take that back. We having a good time here talking about everything. We're having a grand old time. Can you pass the Grey Poupon, please? So Jay, for a lot of people that don't know out there, like I said before, Jay writes for Forbes Magazine, and
3 years.
For the past 3 years, everything he drops, like you don't want to miss anything that goes on. I specifically go to his IG stories just to be like, all right, what did he drop today? Or if I'm running late from work, I'm like, all right, let me just get to work, and then just pull up my Forbes tab and then just go right to his page to see what he got coming up. Tell us what you got coming, or what you just recently, you put something out today, yesterday?
Monday, I put out a story on Sovereign Brand CEO Brett Barish and how he built his self-made spirits empire. Brett runs a company, Sovereign Brands, which is a portfolio of like spirits brands across categories. So Brett and his team, before creating Bel Air, which people first widely knew through Rick Ross and the Black Bottle Boys, and DJ Khaled. That's how a lot of people first got familiar with the Bel Air brand. But prior to Bel Air, he and his team created Ace of Spades, and Ace of Spades famously sold, of course, to Jay-Z in 2014. And then he and his team also created Douce Cognac, which Jay-Z also which is part owner now. It's operated by Bacardi Limited. And so they've been a business, family owned and operated since 1999, completely independent, not bought out by a major player.
That's what's up.
They created Bel Air. Bel Air the bottles have become a symbol of self-made success for artists across the industry. And so it's telling a lot of his story. They also created Bumbu Rum, which is they call it the world's most decorated rum because it's won the most awards of any rum in history. And now Bel Air Rosé that they have, which a lot of people are familiar with in the black bottle, is actually the top-selling French rosé out of the U.S. So they're just a really small boutique shop that just creates really impactful global spirits brands. Brett is a great guy. If people have watched watched the series, we've developed together. So we started almost a year ago now, crazy enough, developing the self-made concept and platform, and which started as a video series where artists would share their self-made stories, and Brett would sit down with them.
Was that okay? That was him that would sit down with them.
Yeah, that's Brett who sits down with the different artists in the video.
Yeah.
And then what I do is I also sit with the artists and speak with the artists and get the mechanics. So it's called the art of being self-made. And so those are the conversations we have with everybody. And we've covered Ross, Khaled, Davies, A Boogie with the Hoodie, Steve Aoki, Diamond Platinums, Post Malone.
Everybody's popping right now, basically.
Just a ton of people. Russ, Rhapsody, just a bunch of different people, and Nipsey Hussle, which is one of my favorite ones.
Yes, sir. One of my favorites as well. Shout out to Nip, Victory Lap.
So they've just really owned the space and the mantra of self-made, and the concept of self-made tastes better. So that's really getting into his story, his principles, how he built his business, and there's a lot of gems in that. And then tomorrow, or today rather, now being Tuesday, I have a story dropping on a duo who developed a multi-level curriculum for people of all ages to really learn financial literacy, because we understand that that's not taught enough in schools. People get caught up in debt and damage their credit, and instead of being able to confidently just go after their dreams and aspire for things, they get bound by finances, and they find themselves barely being able to get to college or stay in a career or take care of their family. So they develop different programs at each level. So one's called Pockets Change, which is for younger kids to really learn the basics and the fundamentals. And then another one is called Brunch and Budget, where they get like people our age, more out of college, young adults, people who are in their careers.
Yeah.
They sit with them and teach them planning and set goals and things like that. And then they work with them one-on-one. And then they have one that's called the Dead Day Job Army, which is specifically for people of color, because, obviously we notice differences in our backgrounds and how we have a relationship with finances. So they developed a curriculum specifically for people of color that also gets into the systematic issues economically that, predatory loans and, how to actually rebuild your credit and the fundamentals of debt and how, certain things happen. And so it's a story on them and the things that they've built. And then Wednesday here in the city, I have the live talk with Jamel Hill, which will be really dope. 6:30 in New York City. So I'm excited about that. And Jamel Hill is just a fearless, bold voice in the space. So I'm excited to talk to her about how she built her platform and used her voice. So
most
excited
definitely
about that.
And I believe she just got, I want to say today, I saw on Twitter that she was nominated or won like NABJ Journalist of the Year.
Yeah, she was Journalist of the Year. National Association of Black Journalists awarded her that.
The Wednesday is going to be popping for sure.
Shout out to Jamil Hill.
Tickets all through Driven Society, correct?
Yeah, which is actually closed, but you can go to the RSVP page, or you can follow Driven Society on Instagram, on Twitter, and see the updates for sure.
Okay, bet. So there will be some way, shape, and form, ladies and gentlemen, that you all can get this
usually
premium content.
Yeah, and usually, so this is not Get Paid to Be Yourself event, which are usually the bigger live talks that I have. So this is a very specific, intimate event. So it'll only be about 50 to 70 people there, so it should be a really
very intimate compared to
intimate conversation.
I was gonna say compared to one of your favorite Get Paid to Be Yourself events that I got to see through video. The one you did with Dame Dash.
Oh, that was incredible.
Was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, can you just tell us a little bit about that, and then just kind of go into a bit more about Get Paid to Be Yourself for those who don't know?
Yeah, man, absolutely. The Get Paid to Be Yourself live talk with Dame Dash was really a moment culturally, for real, because Dame is somebody what made me really believe and know that it was the right time to have a conversation with Dame Dash is, this a lot about me. I've been talking about a lot of these different principles and things for a while now when it comes to, how to navigate your career, understanding your value, leveraging that value, like owning your time, owning things like that.
Yeah.
And, when we look in an era where you have the Gary V's and people of the world who are capitalizing off of this new wave of independence and entrepreneurship
Yeah.
and building your own businesses and brands, you had people like Dame, who at a time, in large part, was scrutinized and ridiculed because he had the same beliefs in a time where that just was so unheard of.
It was so foreign to some people.
Absolutely.
You know?
So he was ready to tell his story, and the last interview he really did was The Breakfast Club, which everybody knows about, that interview. So I wrote the story. We sat down, we did the interview, which was a great conversation. A lot of people took a lot of gems away from Dame and what he said. He's the definition of disruption. Yeah. And then, we brought it to life, and it was in LA in front of probably 350, 400 people, creators. And we just had a great conversation. He clarified a lot of things too. Out of that conversation, you had people like Charlemagne and Steve Stout and other people who, for years, in some point, in some way, had been maybe at odds or hadn't really, understood his message.
Yeah.
Say, yo, I get it now. I understand it. Yeah, like, I applaud you and I respect what you've represented and what you've done. So that conversation was to, one, really contextualize the message that he was championing years ago, that has to what he said in his credit of, you've produced a Jay-Z, a Kevin Hart, a Kanye West, and all these people, and, giving them that mentality and the mindset to be their own boss and, build their own stuff up, contextualizing that for this generation, and then also being able to put him in his proper context culturally, and set it straight. Like, you can say what you want about him, you can say what you want about him and Jay or whatever, but that man has a ton of wisdom to offer, and that's really what Get Paid to Be Yourself is about. It's about, it's not about teaching people how to be entrepreneurs. It's not about teaching people how to be socialites or get paid on Instagram or any of that type of stuff. Get Paid to Be Yourself is really about getting people to see that they're enough, right? Like, your value, your perspective, your multitude of talents combined are enough to create the space you want, to design the kind of careers you want, to do. No, but for real, but to really be able to do that. Like, we're in a time where, the person with the information has the power, right? Like, that doesn't necessarily mean the degree or the training or the background. It doesn't necessarily mean, this person, that person. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to play by the politics and do it like this and do it like that. We're in a time where we are the people we looked up to. Like, we are the ones in position to design what the new rules look like for our generation and the generation to come. The old. So, like, when you look at it like that, it's getting people to change their relationship to the work that they do, change the way that they look at their value and how much leverage they have. One thing Nipsey said in our interview that stuck out to me is, he's like, we've been being leveraged, so you have to have the mentality now that if you're not leveraging, you're being leveraged. So having that mentality, it's giving people the insight, the tools, the tips, the blueprint from people who have done it, and telling stories through them to be able to really develop, a true proven way of thinking and way of moving that allows people to really get paid to be who they are and build careers and businesses that are rooted in what they're passionate about without compromising who they are, what they feel their mission is, and what they ultimately, want to accomplish. So it started 3 years ago as a Forbes column where I was highlighting different creators, entrepreneurs, and people who've built these multifaceted careers. And then 20 installments of the editorial later, it's evolved into workshops. So I've traveled everywhere from London and New York to Mississippi to DC to all over, teaching and showing, people that it's more than just, it applies to you too. It applies, to everybody and what that looks like. And then that evolved into the live conversation series where I've sat down one-on-one with Ryan Leslie, Rob Stone, Lena Waithe, Mondo Fresco, Dame, and others. So it's a editorial series to give people the way of thinking and more of the philosophy. It's a workshop to teach people the tools and the mechanics. And then it's a live conversation so people can show up and experience it and see it firsthand and be able to interact with people who have done it.
Bet, man. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure to go check out everything that Julian has. All Things Mitch is your social media, correct?
Correct.
Correct. All Things Mitch. We're going to have some more coming up with Julian in just a little bit. Right now, we got to get into Summer Walker CPR. Don't go nowhere. It's The Alternative. We got all that music for you. Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back one more time with The Alternative. My man Julian Mitchell is here. No, you just said it so perfectly. I don't even want to mess it up. Can you just say it for me?
We just had a real conversation.
We just had a real. Oh my God.
Know the difference between an opportunity and a distraction.
Know the difference, man. Oh my, I can't even.
Because some things look like an opportunity, but they're really just distracting you from the reality, which is actually greater than the opportunity.
Man, I told y'all, this man is just like a walking gym machine right here. He got all the keys. This DJ Khaled was talking about this man right here. Now I do want to talk about
shout out to Khaled.
Something that's not a distraction, that it is an opportunity that you got going on this week. Talk about this contest that you got going for everybody out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I'm excited about it. It's called the Platform Project. The Platform Project. The idea started because through social media, LinkedIn, all these different channels, people reach out for a lot of different things, primarily three things. They either, of course, want exposure, or they want to be featured on a platform, which obviously, I don't feature everybody. It's not that type of thing. So I get a lot of people who inquire about exposure. Then I get a lot of people who really respect my work and the quality of it, and they reach out because they want to get better, or they want to receive my help or have me look at certain things. And then at the same time, there are people who just generally want to have access. They want to ask me questions. They want to have that more of kind of like a consulting / mentorship type of relationship. So when I looked at the three things, I said, what's something that could really address and provide people all three, but still be something that's fun, that's ongoing, that's really a program that can develop, other talent and allow me to see people's ideas and see what people are working on.
Yeah. This your boy, Drummer Boy, a.k.a. D-Boy Fresh, man. And you listening to me right here on The Alternative.
What's brackin', y'all? This is Tristan J. Winger, and you're listening to...
Yo, what up? It's your boy, Schroeder MC.
What's going on? I'm Mark John Jeffries, and I just wanted to say that you are listening to The Alternative.
Hey, this is Coca Brown, and you're listening to The Alternative.
It's your boy, Jahan Jones, and you're listening to The Alternative with your boy, Melvin Jr.
Hey, I know what it is, man. It's your boy, Saha the Prince, good music partner, and you are now listening to The Alternative.